Welcome to the Native Habitat and Outdoor Classroom. And this is at Sunset School in Oakview. And basically, students designed this habitat by learning about native plants. And then eventually they put down something called sheet mulching. And then they decided what plants they wanted to plant based on what those plants would provide for native animals, pollinators. And then they came out and planted them. And then after it's planted, they water them, and then they'll come out and pull weeds and take care of pruning and cutting flowers that are no longer pretty down, and get rid of those. And we also have this wonderful learning circle where they can come, the students can come out during school hours, and a teacher can talk to them about native plants, music. Basically, you can learn anything out here, nice shady area. And so just wanted to welcome you to the habitat, and now we're going to talk about a couple of the steps. The outdoor classroom and native habitat, or native pollinator habitat, is completely student designed and run. So the students, I provide them with a list of native plants and native animals, and the students do like basically species reports, learn about plants, and what those plants provide to different native animals. And that way the students are very invested in this project. The next step is that they come out and they pick a site. We chose this site because it has this beautiful oak tree, lots of shade, and it's very close to classrooms. They will pick the site, and then we start doing sheet mulching, which is putting down layers of cardboard and then putting bark on top of that. And that basically keeps weeds from growing. 95% of the weeds. There's still some weeding that needs to be done, but most of the weeding is eliminated by sheet mulching. Then after the sheet mulching has done its job and there are no weeds, students come out in shifts and plant native plants. And then they'll come out and water roughly once a week, deep water the plants. And then after about 2 years, they'll come out with guidance and prune the plants to keep them healthy. And that's sort of the process of the native pollinator habitat. And the outdoor classroom part is you're providing all these opportunities for students to see native animals, native plants, get their hands dirty in mud, and actually learn how to do gardening, and then also areas tucked in amongst the habitat to actually come out and have an outdoor classroom. Just a bit more about sheet mulching. Super easy process. It's been around for decades. You just put cardboard, at least 2 layers of cardboard, completely covering by a couple inches each other, maybe 3 layers of cardboard, and then get wood mulch and cover the cardboard. The ideal time to do this is spring, and then you can plant in November, December. School districts usually have mulch that they can provide. Then you know it's safe. It doesn't have any poisons or any things that could cut a student, like pieces of broken glass or anything like that. And you just let it sit here and basically keep the sun from allowing grass from growing and weeds from growing. And that's easy. You just do that as early as you can. And some people like it to sit for a year. I've found that 6 months is enough, and it also allows students to be able to dig in the ground. If the ground was initially like concrete hard, this process will make the ground come alive again. You all know about earthworms. This is how earthworms can live in your soil and start aerating it and start making the soil alive, so when you do the planting, your soil is alive. Now I'd like to just give a little demonstration on how to plant natives. It's a little different than how you plant vegetables or citrus trees. Natives, you're not planting on watering. That's one of the huge advantages, is they pretty much will exist after the first rainstorm for the rest of their life off of just rainwater if you do it right. So we've got the mulch down that we talked about, the sheet mulching. So you got to move that to the side. I picked this spot for the plant because this plant is the island cherry and it's going to get kind of big, so I wanted it to be in an area where I wanted it to grow big. So now I've removed all the mulch. There's no grass, no weeds, because it's done its job. Now I'm going to dig a hole that is as close to possible as a 1-gallon pot. If I go too big, once it gets watered, all the water leaves it. So I want it to be as small and kind of hug the plant. And I'm saving all of the dirt because I don't want mulch to go near the plant, because the mulch basically chokes plants. Now I test that it's the right size by putting the plant in there. Then you have to very carefully take the plant like this, gently squeeze it so it falls out, because the last thing you want to do is pull it like a weed, because then they'll destroy the roots. Put it in, cover with native soil. And I've created sort of a bowl. So when it rains or when I water it, all of that water kind of gets funneled into the root system. Normally students do this and they'll water it probably 10 times in the time that they're out here. And that's a properly planted native plant. This entire habitat was created, developed, planted, and cared for by students here at Sunset Elementary.